Anthrax spray.
I saw people are racist to French people, dog. I saw a freaking girl and getting jealous because she was speaking like French to somebody. It's like.
No, what kind of intro is this? Look, yeah. What's good, guys? Welcome back to an episode of the Outcast Analysis.
Yeah.
But today we got an actually interesting video for you. Probably gonna have to drop the link in the comments because this is a well put together video. I think it's by Mind Station. It's Jordan Peterson on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's talking about signs that you are attractive to women. Let's get into it. You already know it's me, Jake. Here with my pendulous ball having co-host.
It is.
You know, y'all love to hear it. Time to get to it. We actually moved the setup, guys. So if you're having audio issues, we moved the setup. We don't really know the advantages of the setup just yet. So, still trying to figure it out.
We could build a room here.
Technically, yeah. I think this would be easier to build a room around than the other spot.
Yep.
A lot more wind, though. So, yeah, if you guys hear wind, yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. Well, we did move the setup. We're getting into the summer months soon, and the heat's getting unbearable.
So we went from a porch to on the stairs.
Hey man, we look. If somebody took a picture of us right now, we look like we about to drop the hardest mixtape ever.
We look like we're about to play dominoes, dog.
Either way, let's get into it.
What happens is that the males obviously are selected for their ability to move up dominance hierarchies. Obviously, because the ones that are at the top of the dominance hierarchy reproduce preferentially. And so that means the male dominance hierarchy becomes a method of selection. But then allied with that is the female proclivity for choice on whatever dimension the dominance hierarchy happens to be arranged. And so then female sexual selection also becomes a radical, non-random selector of what genetic material is going to move into the next generation. And so I fail to see how any of that can be separated from the emergence of complex nervous systems and mind over the course of evolution, because creatures aren't making random choices. They're not random at all. Depends on the wisdom of the woman, obviously, but well, it does, because narcissists can fool naive women. That's why narcissists propagate, by the way. And we know this because narcissistic psychopaths, young women are more likely to fall for narcissistic psychopaths. And the reason for that is they can't tell them from competent men, because narcissistic psychopaths imitate competence, and that's their niche. And so they have a confidence that isn't justified by their ability. The confidence as a marker of ability, and the falsely confident can fool them, especially if they're young and naive. So let's say you're not going to be a narcissistic psychopath, which is often what those manosphere dating sites teach you, is wear an expensive watch and peacock a bit. And to peacock is to wear some item of clothing that's, a little bit out of the ordinary, something a little bit more colorful than might be generally the case, so that you look like you're confident enough to pull that off with panache. But mostly it's just training in a kind of deceptive narcissism. Now, a wallflower guy might benefit from some training in narcissistic psychopathy, just to sort of balance him out a bit. So you can make some progress forward. That's why people like Andrew Tate are so popular. And
so, okay, well, let's stop right there. I love Jordan Peterson. I love the topics that he brings into people, and he brings out. I do understand what he's saying in sort of a based concept. He's speaking on the idea of confidence, and it being a very large factor in attracting women, Women also prefer dudes who are competent and skilled at what they do, and are skilled in certain areas that are beneficial. And when it comes to narcissists and playboys and psychopaths, these dudes, they are capable of having a sense of confidence that will attract women, but it's not necessarily based in competency. So they can easily skirt by. And I also like the fact that he said that a wallflower, a shy guy, could definitely benefit from being around some dudes who would have such a disposition, because he would learn a thing or two about proper confidence and outreaching himself.
And I'm not saying that in an entirely dismissive manner. There's a huge danger there. But generally what women want is something like confident, productive generosity, fundamentally. And so, if that's allied with physical attractiveness and a sense of humor.
Confidence in what? Productive generosity?
Yeah.
What does it mean by that?
Confident dudes who are productive and capable of producing, providing, and are generous enough to provide such a thing to the woman. Women want protectors and providers, my friend. They want dudes who come with benefits.
Productive generosity makes it seem like they're just giving away seems like they're just giving away the produce. I mean, yeah, I guess they would love productive generosity, but I wouldn't call what most of them get into as having productive generosity.
Well, yes, because the narcissists, psychopaths, they find a way of masking themselves
to get exactly what they want.
Smart lads.
Maybe.
What? You got to give props.
The sorts of
giving props is why we'll get canceled
so much better. But your basic bet, and my suspicions are the guy who answered this question is probably young. First of all, no one likes young men, so if women don't like you, it's like, well, that's par for the course. Who likes young men? No one. Why? Well, they're basically troublesome and useless, and so that's why. So cross-culturally, women like men who are about 4 years older than them. And the reason for that is, women are more vulnerable on the sexual front, and they have to make themselves even more vulnerable if they have children, especially when the children are infants. And so they're looking for guys who are competent enough to be able to take care of themselves, at least, and then have enough left over for a wife and a dependent child. And not because the wife wants to be taken care of, because it isn't exactly like women want to be taken care of. It's more a reciprocal relationship. But if a woman has a dependent child, then both of them have to be taken care of, especially when the child's an infant. And so women tilt the scales toward assessment of men on the grounds of their competent generosity. And the reason, and men might be annoyed about that, but I would say, well, if you were a woman, you'd do the same thing. And you know how I know that? It's because women are female humans. And so if you were a woman, you'd be just like a woman. So, because that's what a woman is, right? So you can't blame women. It's like, clue in there, buddy. If all women don't like you, it's you. And that's so annoying. It's especially if you're young, because most women aren't going to like you, and it is you. So you have to grow up, but then you got to understand that if you make yourself competent and productive and generous and a little bit socially skilled and reasonably clean, eventually, you'll fool someone, and then might take a few years, but generally it happens. So that's the thing, is don't be a fool. Turn yourself into someone who's worth, and then develop enough social skills so you advertise yourself genuinely. Because it's not also useful if you're a man to be competent, productive, and generous, and then so timid and socially unskilled that no one can tell. That's also not helpful. Engineers do that all the time.
Wow. That's the end of the video. Crazy. Guys, I believe what he was really getting at, was it if you're a young dude and young women aren't interested in you, man, you got to take a look at yourself and think, why would any woman actually truly want me? And if you're a dude who doesn't see those qualities, but women do seem to have some interest in you, you must then figure out what these qualities are that these women are interested in, and then cultivate additional qualities to add along with them. He's explaining that women want dudes who are, especially the women who are trying to find dudes to properly settle down with, they want dudes who are competent, capable of taking care of them and potential offspring. They want dudes who are good under pressure, capable of holding their own. And it's not helpful to be a dude who's competent, confident, all these things, and also be timid and weak enough to let yourself be pushed around. Truly an interesting take. Shouts out to Jordan Peterson for that one, man. You got anything to add?
Introspection is really one of the hardest things to really have. Because it's really hard to look on yourself and say, I really am not shit. A lot of people do that, right? Well, they do it in a very unproductive way. And then there's the other people who blame every other thing, blame every other aspect on, blame their lack of that on every other aspect but themselves and what they are doing and their qualities. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a pill that every man must swallow. You must look at yourself, see what you lack, and really improve on yourself. This is not me telling you to become a cigar smoking playboy. Because if there is anything that compromises your morality, your moral compass, or your faith, you should not do it. And if you're trying to attract women who aren't into those things, you are probably looking at the wrong woman. So I would say at least look into all those things. Look how they affect you. Look how moral or how in the faith they are, and then really pick apart everything and analyze it, and really look on how it is and how viable it is. Most of the time, but like confidence is a pretty simple thing, because most men. I wouldn't say most men.
Most men?
I wouldn't say most men lack confidence.
A lot of, especially younger men, none of them got confidence, dog. Almost none of them have confidence.
I mean, as a person who's lacked confidence, still slightly lack confidence in myself. I can see. I mean, the niggas who I see seem confident, but maybe sometimes it looks like a facade of some sort. So.
Well, that's a hell of a take. Guys, we do hope you've learned something. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Outcast Analysis. We'll get you in the next one. Stay hardworking, stay introspective, but above all else, stay on.